Hello, everybody. Welcome along to the Rangers Rabble podcast, another impromptu podcast, because the real boss, William Irwin, told me that I had to be done. So, yeah, just back to Blackpool. I was looking forward to a few beers, but no. William Irwin says do a podcast and you do a podcast. So hello and welcome. I've made this a phone in as well. So if you want to get your points across, 0141 628 7237. Gives a wee phone, tell us what you think. I'm joined by Elaine. Elaine, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Nice
Is
to
there,
be back.
is there anything going on that would perhaps make you want this to be a short podcast?
Absolutely not missing the family barbecue that I can smell outside.
Oh, I hear barbecue and my big round belly gets all excited. Care, how are you?
I'm okay, Martin. Middle of trying to move in 2 weeks, so
Is that you
everything in
finally
there.
moving out the toilet, is it?
Aye, ready to move out the toilet. When we move into your sunroom, as you call it, even though it's just an extension to your kitchen, but we'll just call it your sunroom, eh? Sunroom.
Listen, when we bought the house, that's what it was called. I've never heard of a sunroom. But there you go.
That's your back door.
And of course, first time on the pod, Lex Luthor, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just looking forward to getting some background for me instead of sitting in the toilet.
I know your head kind of blends into the.
Yeah, that's the problem, innit? I'm gonna have to get something to go behind. Almost a green screen for my head.
A black hair behind you.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So yeah, obviously rumours that Calvin Bassey is set to be announced as a new Ajax player, and then out the blue, Rangers have reportedly bid £4 million, and that's for Ben Davies from Liverpool. No, not the Welsh one, the English one. And apparently that deal's also close. And we had a game yesterday that I know Kerr, Jamie covered, and Mark, but we'll maybe have a wee run over that again because I know Elaine's desperate to go through it bit by bit. But yeah, so if you want your say as well, 01416287237. If you're watching on YouTube, please do like and subscribe. If you're watching on Twitter, give us a wee retweet, a like, and a comment in there as well. And you can also join as a member on YouTube as well for additional perks and stuff like that as well. Right, so Ben Davies, I know absolutely hee-haw about him, apart from the fact that he's 26, he's English, and he's signed for Liverpool from £1 million from Preston, because I think he had like 6 months left of his deal. But somebody on the panel does know about him and gets very offended if you criticise him in the slightest. So, Kerr, over to you. Who is Ben Davies?
He's a left sided centre back who can play at left back. 6 foot, I think, maybe a wee bit more than 6 foot tall. Very composed on the ball, very good footballer. Maybe lacks a wee bit of aggression, but it'll come to him in Scottish football. But I still think Gio go to a back three. I'll probably be wrong there, but I still think I might go to a back three. And I think he'll suit as well. I mean, I see people saying £4 million is a lot of money, but you're signing a player for Liverpool. You're not going to get him for peanuts, and he's still under contract. £4 million is a lot of money to us, but with the money we brought in, he, by all accounts, taking a chop on wages to come to Rangers. He wants to come, so I'm actually really happy with saying. I think it'll fit in well. I think him suited on goals, and all three of them can defend, but all three are very good footballers, and that's what I like about it. But John Suter's probably the better defender out of three. But we know what Connor's like, and I think Ben Davies will fit in really well. And let's say he can use both feet, but he's left-sided, and I think if Bournemouth plays on the left side up the park, I think Davies behind them will be superb. But I'll probably will be wrong, and they'll tell me that in a couple of months' time. But I think it's a great signing.
Everybody knows that I like to use one big word a show because I've got a word of the day calendar. And I think I might just leave it till a wee bit later on just to use my big word. But Elaine, does this have some connotations? Fuck it, I'll use it now. Does this have connotations for Phil Hollander?
Yeah, do you know, I think actually whether or not we were bringing him in anyway, with Hollander's history and the fact that he's injured again, if we weren't looking at shipping him out sounds harsh because obviously if a player's injured, it's not really the done thing to do to just walk away from them. But given his history, I don't think we can rely on Hollander. And I think with this, especially the fact he's seen a specialist, the writing's probably on the wall for him. Certainly for, I would say for probably this season, and therefore with his Rangers career, because you're not going to see a specialist if it's not serious. It's either a serious injury or it's recurrent, and therefore they don't think it's something that's going to resolve without that impact or input. So I think the writing's probably on the wall for Hollander anyway, and it makes perfect sense given that we went through. I did see a tweet last night saying we weren't looking, we didn't need to replace Bassey. But if you look at it thinking that Suter has his injury problems, Hollander, is just a big question mark at the moment. Leon King absolutely looks as if he could do a job, but at this level, and certainly if we do get into Champions League, etc., is going to be is totally untested in that field. Katic, do we think that he's going to come back and play a big part? It makes perfect sense to bring a left-sided centre half in. I don't know the first thing about him, but I'm willing to take what Kerr says at face value. And the only other thing that I was thinking when you said about the pod was, I look back, I didn't necessarily look at Ben Davies because, how much am I going to learn very quickly? Not a lot. But what I did do is have a wee look on Twitter at what we said and what various other people said when we signed Connor Bolton. 3.5 mil, similar kind of similar price range. And the replies to that were very similar. Who, what, how much money, from all ends of the city. And we know how that's panned out. So willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, and just fingers crossed it works out for us.
Well, of course, Stu, that's the thing. Nobody likes to talk about possible new signings and have any sort of negative comments or make negative points about them, because everybody who signs for Rangers, you want to be outstanding. You want them to be as good as they possibly can be. But does the fact that Ben signed for Liverpool, made 0 appearances, apparently, and Kerr confirmed this or not, has had a couple of injuries. Does 4 million sit right with you for a player like that?
I don't know. I think any time we spend over sort of 3-4 million, it is big. It's a big amount in Scottish football. He's obviously got the move to Liverpool at a time when Van Dijk was injured, so I think they needed someone in quickly just to cover for him. I don't know. I think he's going to prove if he's worth it or not at the end of the day, isn't he? So my fear with him is from the Sheffield United fans I'm seeing, they mainly see him in a back three. They don't like him in a two partnership centre back. So yeah, it's a bit. I think we may play 3 at the back this season, but then if we do, we might be short on centre backs again. If he's got injury problems, he's coming in to cover for those injury problems already. Suter and Hollander, and even Katic is coming back from. He's obviously played last season, but he's still got a long-term injury in his history as well. So 4 million for a player of that, I don't know. I'm sort of on the fence with it.
Would this be the same Sheffield United fans who slated Lundstram?
Yeah, it is the same. Yeah, you're right, definitely. But they are watching them every week, and we slated Lundstram as well. To be fair, so he proved us wrong in the end. But yeah, I don't know. I think we obviously have made a healthy chunk of money. So I'm not. If this is the guy we've identified and we've gone after, then I think 4 million is a decent amount. And obviously he's going to be taking a wage cut if he's on 50 grand. So that's what it to me. So,
but
obviously, obviously it was actually just a more direct this at Kerr. Obviously the difference in price suggests is he going to be much better than Balogun, who personally I would have probably kept, given that he was a fairly reliable backup. Now, obviously, if we are going to shift to a back 3, then this potentially makes perfect sense. But I was just thinking last night when I was thinking that we potentially should have just kept Balogun as fairly inexpensive cover. We've now gone and paid potentially £4 million for what could be quite expensive cover. Is there going to be a huge difference between them?
Well, every signing's a gamble. Elaine. Over the piece, I think will turn out to be worthwhile. I see you've mentioned no playing for Liverpool, Martin, and other people have mentioned never played. To be honest with you, if he was playing for Liverpool's first team, we would never sniff him.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? So, but he was good enough to sign, so he must have seen something in him. But I think he's 26. I think he will prove to be worthwhile signing if he stays fit. I think it might take him time to settle into Scottish football, like it does some players coming from various leagues across Europe and especially down south, because you don't realise how good the standards is. Someone come up here think it's a bit of a joke, some come up here think it's not as good, but when they start to play, they realise it's better than what it is. But I think over the piece at 26, you'll be a really good signing, and I know I've said that quite a lot, and like I say, you'll probably come back to me saying, no, you're wrong. I still think we'll go to a 3. I think Gio prefers a 3 in the long run, and I think that's what he's going to do. Balogun to me was always going to finish. Balogun to me was good cover, but he also made a mistake on him, and he wasn't a long term. The boy's only 26, and I don't think this is it's just didn't happen overnight. I think they knew Bassey was going to go, maybe, or somebody was going to go, saying the defenders, and I think he's been identified Davies for a while, because it's happened far too quickly for Ben Bassey to this. You just can't really do a deal in 24 hours. So I think Rangers have identified Ben Davies for a while, and obviously spoke to Liverpool to see if he was available. They get told yes, probably spoke to his agent. He's like, I'm happy to come, because last season we're in the Champions League qualifier, but getting to that final last season, we are a big club, and we all know we're a big club, and if we played elsewhere, we're probably one of the biggest in the world. But playing in Scotland is slightly different. But I think after last season escapades in Europe, it's put Rangers out there, as in like boy Lawrence. I know he turned down Sheffield United after all of them saying he's signing for them, but he came to Rangers. Other players have come to Rangers. I see Ben Davies saying, I'll take a cut of money and come up to play. So he's not going to come up here and be backup. He can easily be backup at Liverpool. I'll be sitting out on loan and they earn 50 grand a week rather than come up here and be backup and no play. So I think he's probably been told he's coming up here to start or playing. So I think it'll be a good signing. But like I said, every signing is a gamble. So it's like any guys we've signed so far, they all take time to settle. And it might be a case of you have to go with the ones that are usually playing up here first of all and bring these guys in. But depends how Gio goes. But I think in a long time this will be a good signing. I don't think it's £4 million up front. It'll be over stages.
No,
We
there's
put
no
up
way it's
front and
forward, no.
maybe plays after a certain amount of games, and maybe if he won anything. So you might guarantee you might have to pay £4 million for him anyway.
I know, look, if you want to have your say on Ben Davies, then call 01416287237. It always takes 15, 16 minutes to get the first caller. And then as soon as the first caller comes in, everybody comes in. So if you want to be that first caller, 01416287237. To put a more positive spin on this, though, Elaine, whether he was brought in, because I think obviously Stu mentioned that he was brought in at the time when Van Dijk was injured. I think Matip was injured. So he was brought in to cover. Now, what you have to remember is, Liverpool are up there in the 2 or 3 best teams in Europe under Klopp with what they've achieved. So if you're being brought in, even if it's just back up until you get certain players fit again, you've got to have something about you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't have, as I say, I'm willing to give the lad the benefit of the doubt. I'm quite excited by how we're shaping up. I think it's nice to see us doing some pretty solid business, fairly sensible business as well. And yeah, he must have stuff about him. The one thing I would kind of counteract that with is, obviously Man U paid mega money for Ahmad, for Diallo. And he came up, and to be fair, towards the end of the season, I did think he was getting a bit better. Was he worth that amount of money? They obviously saw something in him. He might go on and push on. The league just probably wasn't for him. So there will be something there. The other thing I kind of think is with a lot of these guys, the Scottish League isn't to be underestimated. It's not to be overestimated either, but it's a kind of totally different game up here. Some people on paper that you think are going to come in and hit the ground running just don't, and for whatever reason it doesn't work out. Other people that you think you're not too sure about, for whatever reason they just take to Scottish football. Even Lundstrom, you look at him, he didn't hit the ground running. I was on this pod in January or December wanting him gone, and I was saying, for the wages he was on, ship him out. We could do better with that money. come to the end of the season, we're all raving about him, thinking, absolutely brilliant, one of the best players. I was on a different pod saying if Goldson was away, he'd be my vice captain. So things can change really quickly. I think, like with all the signings, as Kerr said, we need to just give them a bit of time. Hope that with the kind of Champions League qualifiers, we need to hope some of them hit the ground running, but we need to be patient with it and see. And also we need to kind of trust Gio. This is really his time to make put his stamp on things. So give him this window, give him January, and see where he goes with the team.
I'll revert back to Mark Gately when he signed. His first season he was awful. He gets so much abuse for everybody, and then after that season, him and McCoy just had to really get on. The two of them became the best striker partnership in European football. Do you know what I mean? So you have to give guys time. Some will come in and play their first game and that'll be them. Fine. But others do take time to settle. And I always feel maybe strikers take a bit longer than maybe defenders and midfielders. For some reason, I think there's more pressure on putting the ball in the net, isn't there?
I know. Well, listen, we've got our first caller of the night. Just before I bring you in, Alan, who cares? Now, I seriously hope, Kerr, that's your super fan.
I have no clue, man. I
seriously hope that's your super fan. But anyway, first call of the night. Alan, the posh man for Hampshire, how you doing?
Oh, come on, I'm no posh. I'm a boy for Clydebank.
You don't sound like you're for Clydebank.
I'm not Clydebank, don't you? Just unfortunately ended up doing in Hampshire. Just forgot to pay this up there. Yeah, do you know something? First and foremost, I love you all. It's nice to see Elaine back on the show and Stu as well, and Kerr. I won't mention what I previously said in the show before. And yourself, Martin, it's nice to see you all back on the forum. I'm absolutely gutted. I mean, I thought big Shirley Bassey was going to be at Rangers for a while, but do you know, I'm actually quite pleased from getting a move to Ajax, who will develop him even more. And I'm quite pleased that we're going to bag quite a bit of money as well. But with the boy Davies coming in, I mean, we made a big error when John Lundstrom first came in. We all cursed him and wanted to sell him and move him on. Then he turned out to be a godsend. I still think we should give this boy, no matter what, give this boy a chance. What do you think of that?
Well, just before I let anybody answer, just quickly in the comments, Katic Loyal, I'm going to chip in for a wig for Stu. Thank you so much for the super chat, Katic Loyal.
Katic Loyal, could you double that so I can get a wig?
You can afford one with that accent.
Oh, no, I can't. Look, I might work for the RAF. I didn't mean to own the RAF.
Well, that's very true. If I knew you worked for the RAF, I would never have slagged you, Alan, so my deepest apologies.
I'm only contracted to them, but I'm not a serviceman. I'm contracted to them.
But yeah, on your point, Elaine, it's the same with every player that comes in. They need to get time. It's just, unfortunately, sometimes they don't.
We're not the most forgiving crowd. On our day, we're absolutely brilliant. You look at the Leipzig game and think, was there a better atmosphere? Certainly not. I don't remember. I wasn't even at that game, and I was gutted because I was on holiday. But looking at it, it was one of those that will stay with me forever. And everyone that I've spoken to, my mum has had her season ticket for more years than I've been around. Best atmosphere ever. So on our day, we're absolutely brilliant. But we're not forgiving, and we judge quickly. And the pressure at Rangers, the quote about "you're not as good as your last game" at Rangers, you're as good as your last pass. It's so true. We can be ruthless and we can be totally savage, and we don't give people time to bed in. And the other thing as well, I suppose, is as I was saying about the differences within the Scottish football game, we forget that a lot of these guys, especially younger ones, are coming up, moving away. I know it's part and parcel of being a footballer, but even just big changes in life, it does take a wee bit of time. Hopefully we do. Hopefully we've learned from Lundstrom. I won't hold my breath. I think that they need to, I think that they do need to come in and show something. But yeah, hopefully we have learned something, and I'll be a lot more careful come January who I'm saying that we should loan out or who we should look to sell.
I think we should all just stop having opinions, but then of course if we do that, then there's no podcast, I suppose. Alan, something that I think Kerr mentioned about the possibility of going to a back three. I think it was CGM I want to apologise if it wasn't. I'm not giving the right person credit, but they said, look, we've just signed basically 2 wingers. There's no chance he's going to a back 3. So if we stick with the back 4, who's your 2 starting centre backs?
Well, do you know, two starting centre backs. Well, so obviously the first one's going to be Golson.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll do what Gerrard used to do, is rotate Golson's partner. And I think what we'll do is he'll bring in Suter for some games and maybe Cage for the other games and just keep on rotating them. But I would like to see him go down the 3-5-2, just so that if he plays some games like that, it means if he has to switch his tactics to a 3-5-2, then it means the players will be comfortable in that role instead of being kind of alienated doing this role that they're not used to doing because they're too busy playing like a 4-1-3-1-1, whatever it may be. But I'm all for giving different tactics for different teams, playing different formations, so that it keeps other teams on their toes. What they're going to put out, how they're going to play against us, what format, what just basically keep all the teams on the toes. Because I'm getting fed up just seeing 10 men in the box and a goalkeeper standing in front of them. It gets boring after a while. I like watching football all around the world, and I see the sulky play that all teams, even the wee baggy minnow teams, come up against the big teams. They give it all they got. Don't just sit back, shut up shop and hope for a draw. But unfortunately in our league, that seems to be the thing. But when it comes to the centre backs, you know, I'm going to leave it to you, Gio. I know in my heart he knows what he's doing, so I'm going to leave it to him. But I still reckon I think we're going to need another striker, maybe another 2. If this about Roof going out on loan, I think we need to get back into the market and just make sure that we're going to be fully covered up front.
Well, I think everybody who watches this podcast knows that I like structure, right? And I like to, when we're talking about a subject, focus on that subject, right? But obviously, Alan in Hampshire fancies himself as a bit of a host. So, Keir.
Sorry, man. This is no disrespect to Ibrox Radio because I love Ibrox Radio, but I used to be the co-host on Ibrox Radio.
Ah. Is that why you...
time with Kenny McCallion and Alex Kelly and Robert Witherall. You know, I'm still good friends with all these guys. It's just unfortunately their show is late at night, and normally I'm in my bed to get up at 5:30 each morning to go up to RAF Oakhanger.
Ah, right. So he thought he would. So Alan thought then, if I'm not on Ibrox Radio anymore, I'm going to jump onto Rangers Rabble and try and be the co-host, and then I'm going to try and make us change direction and go and talk.
To be fair, I've got a barbecue to go to, so if it
I just go off on a tangent because I'm talking about my most passionate thing, other than my daughter. I'm talking about my passionate thing, which is Glasgow Rangers. And you get a wee idea that pops into your head, and you want to explain it. Then as soon as you get halfway through it, there's another idea that jumps into your head, and you think, "Oh, I'll switch to that," and start explaining that. And then before you know it, you have to go round in a big circle and go back to where you started.
Try hosting a podcast, Alan. It's a nightmare. But Keir, look, Alan mentions another striker, so we'll touch on it quickly. There has been rumours about Roof possibly leaving, possibly going out on loan. Yeah. But even if Roof stays, do we have enough firepower?
Probably not, but I know some of the midfielders can play further forward, but you'd want somebody who's an out-and-out striker, wouldn't you? You have to see how, obviously, the new boy does, and Alfie, when he comes back, how he's going to play, and Roof, he can't guarantee. If Roof is fit all the time, he'll get you goals. We've seen him doing it in the past. He can score goals, but it's getting Roof in the park, and there's no point in constantly having these guys like Roof, Helander, sitting in the stands week in, week out and no playing because they're earning good money. It's no disrespect to them, but you'd rather they were elsewhere. So you can have guys who's available to play and it's not their fault they're injured all the time, it's just the way their bodies are. But if Roof's not going to give you a lot of games a season, then if there's a chance of selling them, I would take it and I would bring in somebody else.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Alan, buddy, as always, excellent call. Thank you very much.
No problem at all. And before I jump off to let some other callers on, just to let you know, I'm flying to Lanzarote tomorrow.
Cheers, Alan. Speak to
Enjoy,
you.
Alan.
But at least I'll
What?
phone into Lanzarote and I'll tell you how good the Bluebells bar is.
Yeah, well, I was in
Enjoy.
Galway and Blackpool last night, so yeah.
I've been there as well many years ago.
Had an excellent time. Alan, mate, enjoy your holiday.
Cheers, guys, and continue with the great show. I'll go back to tuning in.
Cheers, buddy. Speak to you soon.
Bye for now. Bye.
See, there you go. That's you get the first caller in, and then they just start flooding in. So, Elaine, I apologise, but you won't be having the barbecue anytime soon.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Stu, because I know that when the callers start coming in, Stu never gets a word in. It's such a shame. What's your take on the striker situation before we touch on Bassey?
We're definitely going to need a third one. I just don't know what sort of striker. We won't go and get three sort of first choice strikers in a way that sort of Cholak and Morelos are. So if we're playing one up top, how are you going to convince another guy to come and sort of sit behind the two of them or sort of go against the two of them? If we're playing two up top, maybe it make more sense. But whether we're going to go for a younger guy to develop, or we're pinning our hopes on likes of Lovelace and Weston, who's just gone out on loan. So I don't know, it's a difficult one. I'd like to see another striker. We've even seen Sakala sort of linked away from the club as well. So
yeah,
we're sort of really running out of options, aren't we? But, yeah.
You've just brought up another point. Before I get to that, JD's going to be raging, but we've got a new member of the channel, Nicholas Moore, for the South Wales Loyal. Welcome aboard the Rangers Rebel family. How are you doing? Wait to up that right, and JD's going to be raging.
He's only joined tonight because JD's not on.
I know. It's just because I'm a better host, Kev. That's all that is.
No.
But yeah, Sakala. I'm not really that surprised that he's been linked to a move out on loan. Are you?
To be honest with you, I've not really seen much of that. I've seen a couple people post it on Twitter, but I've not seen anything
He wasn't
concrete.
involved in the squad at Blackpool.
Possibly he was injured, but who knows? If he has been linked out on loan, I think it might be better for himself to go elsewhere to get more football. But like I say, I don't really know much. The Sakala, he's really infectious, the wee guy, and type of player you love to bats because he plays a smile on his face. Is he good enough? Has he done enough games to prove it? I'm not sure, but I think over the piece, I'd rather have somebody else.
I think someone mentioned as well that Tillman can actually.
Tillman and Lawrence. Lawrence can play through middle. He played through middle with Derby quite a lot. And you play Ryan Kent up front as well.
We have another caller coming in, if I just get my speakers right. Caller ending 706. How you doing?
Hi there, it's John Scott. Hi.
John, how you doing, buddy?
All right, I actually like the idea of getting more middle-aged kind of player, 27, 28-year-olds into the team. Like, I think Tom Lawrence will probably be the best signing of the season. It's that kind of player I think we're needing. And I was thinking maybe John Swift would be a good signing to get, because they're needing somebody for the midfield. Another attacking midfielder or somebody that's a playmaker maybe.
So just a bit more experience, John, then?
Yeah, I think we're just needing somebody players that can hit the ground running, because we're getting in the young guys, which is sometimes I think Matondo could be playing a wee bit before he actually hits his peak, and in the season even, and it was always a case of McLeish always used to say hit the ground running, and I just think I like the sort of core players, maybe 26, 27, these kind of players. I like us to go more back to that kind of thing. I would like us to get somebody that can pick a pass. Anyway, a striker maybe. I don't getting the roof's a bad idea no matter what. I mean, does he get that many injuries? I mean, I don't know. I think he's always a guy you need around.
I think you've actually got a point there, John, for the simple fact, and I'll take that to you, Elaine, about Roof. Was it last season or the season before he was our top goal scorer?
Yeah, before, yeah. And who's to say he'll be a crock next season? You don't know. He's always likely to get a goal when he comes on.
Roof's return rate for the number of starts that he's had or the number of minutes he's played is really good. The problem is just he's not reliable in terms of his injuries, and any time you think he's going to just pick up a wee bit of form and he's in a bit of a roll, he does get a wee niggle, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be the sort that keeps him out for a long spell. It's just even in terms of getting a run of games in the team and getting that form and really, as much as a good player, any player needs confidence as well, and game time. And I like Ruth. I think, he's certainly good to have in terms of tracking penalty taker as well. But for me, it comes down to can we rely on him? I know in terms of what you were saying about how he was the top goal scorer a couple of seasons ago. I think that more reflects on the fact that we have not had a really prolific. Obviously, we've got Alfie, but someone who's really grabbed a season and run and got, season after season, bagging 20 goals a season kind of thing. We need a prolific goal scorer. If that's going to be Alfie, brilliant. But we also need people in the midfield to start chipping in. We need goals from more areas. I think. The season that we won the league, we were so lucky with Tav and Tav's input in terms of goals and assists. That was a total fluke. He's never going to hit a season like that again. That was unbelievable. We really need more goals from around the team, as well as someone up top who's just going to grab it and grab their chance.
Yeah, but to go back to your first point, John, about bringing in people of a certain age. We've brought in Lawrence. He's 28. If Davies comes in, he's 26.
I hope we're going back a wee bit more to that kind of thing.
Well, I think maybe that's what's been shown over the last kind of few seasons, apart from obviously the year that we won the league, that after Christmas the team seemed to fade away. How are you feeling? I don't know if you managed to see any of the Blackpool game, but if you did, what was your thoughts on it, and how are you feeling overall now about Rangers' transfer business?
I didn't see any of it, but I'm excited about it. I like Lawrence. Lawrence has actually got me quite excited when I heard he was coming, and just that kind of guy who can take a shot and just sound a wee bit different, and in the area he tends to take the right option, which is something else. I feel like say Kent, he can beat a guy, but he doesn't really follow it through. Sometimes he doesn't make the run off. Sometimes, Matondo apparently likes to go into the back post as well. That kind of thing, and just somebody to pick up the scraps at times. Because it's more like a goal-scoring season that Van Bronckhorst's looking for now. It's all about goals for him this season.
Matondo, Stu, my eyes couldn't keep up with him.
Rapid, isn't it? He's absolutely rapid. Really look forward to him, and he's sort of the perfect model of what we're trying to do, bringing these guys in young, and then hopefully in a couple of seasons moving them on for a large amount like Bassey. With regards to this sort of 26, 27-year-old, I think it's good. I do think we need those players to complement the younger guys. I think overall our transfer model is going to be this sort of player trading, buy cheap, buy young, develop and sell on. But we're absolutely right. We do need these guys coming in at 26, 27 just to complement them and sort of bring them up to the standard, I guess. We know it's a rebuild this season. We knew it was going to be a rebuild. It's not just can this guy hit the ground running, can this guy hit, can they all do it together? Can they all gel together and take us to where we need to get this season? Because I think we saw across the road, like that the start to the season, last season they had, we should have been out of sight.
Yeah.
So we've seen how hard it is to have a new team and put it together. Luckily, we've got a good core there, so hopefully they can come together. But I do like it. I do like bringing in these sort of 26, 27-year-olds, as long as we're sort of doing the deals we are doing for players like Matondo. I'm really excited about, and it's going to be a bit of a difference for him when he comes into Scottish football itself, and we've seen how Diallo was when a couple of the challenges went on him early on. So it's going to be interesting to see how Matondo deals with it. But yeah, just super exciting, and this is what we wanted, transfer news, and we're getting it now. So 4 million for me as well for Davies to bring it on.
John, mate.
Tillman excites me, I think.
Sorry, John, on you go.
Tillman, he excites me, the kind of the prospect of him playing. I've just got quite a good feeling about him.
Again, it's not somebody really care that I've seen a great deal of Tillman. Obviously, coming from Bayern, any player you get from Bayern Munich, you're thinking to yourself, well, we've got a player here, but he's not played much for Bayern, Care.
No, and I don't really know a lot about him, man. I'll admit that I don't know.
Still
much
excited about it,
So I'm excited to see what he brings, but good to see him because obviously getting somebody. Potential's a big word with a really, really big meaning. Potential is great, but it's what you do after the potential kind of dies away. So I'm looking forward to seeing him and Matondo play to see how they can compare the Scottish game. I know the caller mentioned John Swift, great player John Swift, but I think he just signed for West Bromwich Albion, I'm sure. Just signed for WBA. I think he just signed for West Brom, yeah. But he's the type of player I like. He can sit in the middle of the park, pass the ball about. And he's played with Reading for a lot of years, hasn't he? So, and the Championship's a good league. I know the type of players you're talking about. I agree with you with Tom Lawrence. I think he'll be our best signing because, in my opinion, Tom's a Premiership player, an English Premiership player. I'm not talking about Scottish, not an English Premiership player. He was just Derby's captain, done real well with Derby, but he could have played with any lower league teams in the English Premiership because he's got that ability and he's no scared of a challenge. Tom Lawrence, he's a bit of a nutter and he can finish, he can create, but he'll put yourself about. So Scottish football will suit him.
Do you think we'll get a centre midfielder?
I don't know. I think it depends on who else leaves. Because I think Charlie McCann, for me, Charlie's coming through and Charlie looks better in every game he plays.
Yeah.
And I think Charlie, I'm not saying he's ready, but I think Charlie, with something like Davies coaching him and playing alongside Lundstrom and Jack, I think Charlie isn't far away. And I used to be like, I would bring in a player, but Charlie, to me, but like Alec Lowry's done, I'd rather give him the chance and bring it, spend money on something because I think Charlie's, you seen that against Blackpool, it was only Blackpool, but he was reading the game superb. He's nicking the ball away when we were passing it. He was trying to get forward, but he's got great composure, great control, and he can use both feet, Charlie. So I would go with Charlie, unless Kamara leaves and you think maybe we need to fill that gap. But it's all ifs and buts. But I do think we need to bring in one or two more signings. A left back, maybe a striker, but I'm happy with the squad at the moment.
John, mate, thanks very much for the call, mate. Great first call, mate. Please do phone in again. And by the way, John, just before I let you go, is it always you that slates me in the comments?
I don't know about that.
I always see after the show is finished, I always see a John Scott who's slating me in the comments.
It's a common name, Martin.
I mean, you're probably right, but you know what I mean. Listen, John, mate, thanks very much.
Okay, all right.
Cheers, buddy. Charlie McCann. I don't want to get too ahead of myself because I know what I was like with Lowry, Elaine. I know you didn't get to see much of the game yesterday, but I thought Charlie McCann's excellent, and he's definitely somebody I think going forward who the first team could definitely use this season.
Yeah, I didn't see the game yesterday.
Sorry,
I didn't see the game yesterday, but I did see the goals, and I thought he took his goal really well. Really great finish. Great, nice for someone actually to be having a shot from there as well. And both the goals from fairly far out, not trying to walk it in. But no, I thought it looked like he took his goal really well. I've seen loads of people kind of raving about him. So I think the important thing for me is that we do manage the squad and give the younger boys time, because we've seen, Patterson and Bassey, at the turn of the year even, well, obviously Patterson not, but I mean, going back to now, this time last season, they were kind of squad players, fringe players. Certainly, to get the money that we have, they were certainly second in their own positions anyway. So I wouldn't be necessarily thinking of adding too many more, or if any, midfielders, unless we had another kind of big loss. I think we've got a decent midfield. In fact, I'd be saying we've got too many midfielders, and I would be looking at Lowry and McCann thinking if we've got the right balance, where we've got the experience, and we've got games, we know that going forward we should be looking at playing to the end of both Scottish Cups. We're guaranteed games in Europe. We've got X amount of Scottish Premiership games. we know that we're going to have to utilise the squad. There are games in there that those boys can be put into the team, and if they're managed well and the team's managed well, there's no reason they shouldn't be getting a chance. I kind of agree with Kerr in terms of saying, when you look at those boys, I would rather be giving them a chance, both for the fact that you want them to succeed, but also for the kind of model that we've all talked about, and looking at Bassey and looking at Patterson, how successful that's been. I think it's really important that we do give them a chance rather than spending crazy money and bringing in to an already congested midfield.
No, I tend to agree. We do have another phone call, as I think some people might have heard and who might have put off a line. And I believe, I've not saved the phone number, but I believe it's Melanie.
Oh, your mother.
Hi, Martin.
Yes.
Hi, everybody.
How are you, Melanie?
I'm very well, thank you. But I'm at work just now. I'm on the night shift, so because I'm going to be sleeping all day tomorrow, I thought I'd just phone and say happy birthday for tomorrow, Martin.
Oh.
Big 33 tomorrow.
Oh.
So many happy returns, and I'll catch you soon. Have a great pod, and I'll speak to you soon. Love you. Bye, honey.
Honestly, if there is a woman. Well, who have we got? Was it M. Burn Loyal says he can't get through on the phone? If you phone me now, I'll be able to get you on. I might have to just come off the screen for a sec so I can go and back to Mum's work. And so,
That was superb, Melanie.
that got me a dillion. Stu, on Charlie McCann, we've spoken enough about Lowry, I think, to last a lifetime. There's no chance that Charlie McCann's going to get any sort of run in the team this year, is there?
I think he's going to play a few games here and there, unless we're planning a loan for him. I think he's proven he can do it. He can step up to that level. I like his positional sense. He's always sort of involved. He's always just ready for the ball, and he's one of those players that, there's frustrating players usually against us that the ball always seems to bobble out to them. And McCann has that. He can just sense where that ball's going to be. I really like that about him. I don't see why he can't come in and play games like Elaine said. Like, there's going to be games this season. Last season, what was it, like 60, 65 games? Mm-hmm. We're going to need to rotate the squad. McCann, I think, has proved he can do it just like Lowry. My fear is certain people bigging him up a bit too much, because I think you've got them both playing at Barcelona in about 2 years, haven't you? No.
I've got them playing at Barcelona.
Selling them for £70 million.
Yeah, that's it. But again, that's what we need. We need this blueprint, don't we? We need this conveyor belt. And if players like Bassey and Patterson can go on and do well for their clubs now, that gives teams more confidence to come back and try and take the next one, is because these guys can prove that they can step up a level. But I'm hopeful that McCann's going to get minutes. I'd prefer Lowry to get them, because I think he's the main guy right now for the youth. But obviously they can play together as well. So I'm hopeful both going to get minutes this season. Yeah, they are. Yeah, but I just mean, like, if I don't think we're going to play them together that often. So
no.
You're going to concentrate on one. I think right now Lowry's got the.
You probably could, because if you look at a lot of the goals last season, both of them are involved in the same goals together. And I think Charlie plays in the front foot a lot, whereas Alec likes to create, and he's got more, I'm not saying relaxed attitude, but more swagger about him. Charlie McCann's in your face, he presses well, but he always wants to get it forward, but he can get behind the ball and defend as well. You may not get the same for Alec. I think he will come back, but I think Charlie's a bit more tenacious that way, because he can stick his foot in and stuff, whereas I like Lowry maybe a bit more technical. Yeah,
definitely. And I just think it's the only problem for me is we were moaning last season that we don't play the youth enough. Are we realistically going to play them together, apart from that Hearts game where we were resting a lot? But they can absolutely do it. So here's hoping that we sort of start going down that route a lot more.
Is my face still red, or is it calmed down?
A little bit.
Because I'm seeing people in the comments just absolutely slating me. There you go. Right, Elaine, we have to talk about it, as much as it kills me to talk about it.
Right.
The big man, Calvin. It's pretty much, we have spoken about it before, but obviously with the signing a Davies, that kind of absolutely confirms it. If everybody didn't already know, he's probably going to sign for Ajax. First of all, for Calvin himself, what a move.
Yeah, I think we know that it was Brighton and Ajax who were kind of definitely in for him. I think there was suggestion that there were clubs in several different other countries in for him as well.
Manchester United as well.
Yes, I saw Man U, Arsenal, I saw France, Portuguese, Italian interest. You kind of take all these things with a pinch of salt anyway. But in terms of a move for him, I think it's a brilliant move. I can't, obviously, no Ajax, but in terms of do I watch many of their games? Absolutely not. Am I going to? Probably not. But in terms of a move for him, in terms of developing him on, the potential that he'll have, I think, I just think it's a brilliant move for him. And I'm glad he went to the continent rather than down south. I think he'd have been brilliant for Brighton, but playing in Brighton where he's going to be playing top level. In the Dutch league, I just think it's a brilliant move for him. And as much as it's disappointing for someone to leave or for a fan favourite to go, you would far rather that they go on to a big club like that. I think this is it's such a cliche, but it is just the start. I really think he'll go on to hit really huge heights, and I think he'll be brilliant. So good for him. It's good for us as well. As much as it's disappointing, this is someone who really for the last has only been a first team regular for the past 6 months, a year. It's phenomenal business, and this is what we need to be doing. We've spoken about it so many times. But yeah, first and foremost for him, what a move. And I really hope he goes and absolutely smashes it.
Oh, God, yeah. Kerr, I don't know if this is true or not, but GB's put it in the comments that Bassey would be the third most expensive signing in Dutch football, which would be absolutely crazy. And if the figures are to be believed, we don't know what the figures are, but if they're to be believed, he'll be the Scottish transfer record as well.
To be honest with you, I can only say the improvement in Calvin over 6 months was phenomenal. Because when I first seen him, I thought, this boy's struggling here, but his improvement was superb. The rate he improved. I seen it myself. You've all seen it. He came in and you thought, he's struggling here. He can't head. His passes were wayward, and then it was just like a couple of months' time. He totally transformed himself, and it was just through his own hard work. So I congratulate him on doing that, and I think he can't turn down a move like this. Nobody can, but we can't turn down either. If it turns out to be 27 million plus 10% selling, which he's going to leave Ajax at one point because he's going to improve over there, and he will be getting sold for more money than they bought him for. So we're going to get more back. It's phenomenal. We can't. That's the model we've got. We can't kid ourselves. That's the way we have to work now. We have to try and get players in like Bassey. We've done it with Nathan and sell them on. Lowry could be the next one if he has a good season. McCann as well. It's just the way football is, and we have to work to bring in money. Do you know what I mean? That's the way football is, and it's hard to watch because you get attached to these guys, especially the younger ones. We see them doing well, but we all know if they go in and play a good 6 months, a year, clubs in Europe will just snap them up because it's cheaper for them than going buying an experienced internationalist who has been playing a good 3 or 4 seasons. As you've seen, they sold Martinez to Man United for double the amount, and they bought Calvin for, but they could sell Calvin for that price in another 18 months.
I know we have the next caller into the show, calling into 971. How are you doing? Welcome to the Rabble phone in.
All right, mate. I'm good. Yourself?
No bad, mate. No bad.
Aye, good stuff. So just on the Calvin Bassey deal, I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter, especially, mocking all the supporters for the other side. Obviously, try to break down this deal as if they're accountants and talking about the money side of it, but I'm kind of viewing it not really that fussed about the money, to be honest. I'm more bothered about how this is going to affect us as a team, because you can see when he plays, you can see how much of an impact that having Goldson beside him is, affecting his confidence. And when he's, at his best, then you just can't get past him. He's not a wall.
Mm-hmm.
That sense. So I just don't know. Because obviously Ben Davies is pretty much all but done now, and I just don't know if players we're bringing in are going to be up to his standards.
Well, that's the thing. You're never going to know, Elaine, if the players that they're bringing are going to be up to his standards. But there's no denying that Bassey, the improvement in him was incredible. And obviously the European,
of course.
the European run helps with the figures and stuff like that. But Elaine, Bassey was for that last practically for the whole of last season outstanding.
Yeah, no, he came on leaps and bounds, and he was so physical as well. I think that's something in terms of the Scottish League that he was fairly quick, but he was really physical. I've not brought myself to watch back the Frankfurt game, and I don't think I ever will. But I did see someone tweeting last night. There was a tweet saying, if you want to know why Ajax have just spent, or it's their most expensive defender, or whatever the tweet said, here's a clip of him. And it was various clips cut up from the Frankfurt game from the final. And I remember in the night thinking he was just a man mountain, and we can go over the goals many times, but at the end of the day, overall, thought he was head and shoulders above the other people in the park. And then to follow up the Scottish Cup final, or to follow that up with the Scottish Cup final, where again, for me, albeit it's good for us because the other player in the park that was brilliant was Souther, but those two performances alone, I think, just summed up how far he'd come. And it's mental to think that we're talking about Ajax as a stepping stone, but that's the reality. That's how good he is. That we're selling someone to Ajax under the full expectations that will be a stepping stone, and he will go on to bigger and better things for more money a couple of seasons down the line. It's all, the coaching staff obviously have to take great credit for it, but the boy himself, great attitude. He always plays with a smile as well. I know that's not guaranteed to make you a world beater, but it looks as if he's put the effort in and he's just reaping the rewards.
I've no doubt, Elaine, that the caller agreed with absolutely everything you've said, but unfortunately they've had to go. No, I'm pretty sure they agreed. Do you know the one thing for that, Stu, that I want to take, and it's something that I don't think any of us do anymore. I don't know if it's just a Rangers thing or it's a worldwide thing with football now. Before we talk about, how the player does, how big a hole the player's going to leave, we always go to the money. We always look at the money side of things because that's just the way that football is now, and because obviously of what happened to us in 2012. But see, if, like the caller says, we just strip away the money thing now, don't think about it, Bassey's going to be really, really difficult to replace from a playing point of view.
Yeah, he is. He's got sort of two things that you can't teach. He has that sort of natural physique and pace, and like for a big guy with pace, that's so hard to replace. And you saw how we got him in. He was very raw. That's how you get that player. You bring him in and you develop him. We can't buy, like what would happen, I think, if Morelos went. We can't buy a ready-made replacement for these guys because we've developed them to a level that we can't actually afford, and that's why they're going for the money they go for. My fear is we don't actually get someone in to replace him, and we go with Borna there. And I do like Borna, but he doesn't offer that attacking threat anymore, anywhere near what Bassey was when he was left back. And like Elaine was saying in that, I saw that same video that sort of chopped out highlights of him in the final. Yeah, it was tremendous. And I think that those last sort of 8-9 games of the season, he got better and better and better. And like he was already reaching a high level at that point. And he was just possessed the last few games of the season. We saw in that extra time when he just bombed on to set Sakala up. Where does a guy get that energy that late into a season to do that? And I'm glad he's going to a team that are the top team in their league, because I think that's going to sort of really bring out his best attributes, because too many times we're sending players to the low end of the Premiership, the top end of the Championship. They're not going to play the same style of football as Rangers. They're going to be more on the back foot, whereas Bassey now can show his attacking strengths if they're going to play him at left back or centre back. With Aribo going to Southampton, it's going to be a bit different, although I think he may be more suited to any sort of team. But I think a lot of our players are suited to teams that have possession of the ball. And I'm gutted he's going, because I remember that Prague game early on, and I was not sure that Bassey was going to be any sort of long-term solution for us. Certainly not at centre back. But he's made me eat my words, and I'm absolutely gutted he's going. But we have to take those deals, and it's a great move for him. I think he's going to develop really well there. Just gutted, but sort of happy for the guy himself.
Actually, as well, and it's been pointed out quite a few times tonight here, but Michael makes a point here. We've went from buying and selling at Poundland to Harrods. That's how far we've come as a club. If you look at the clubs we're dealing with now, Bayern Munich, Ajax, Liverpool, does that prove then just how important that European run was? Albeit, okay, we lost in the final, but we made it to a European final. We're now buying guys for Liverpool. We're selling players to Ajax. We're getting guys who are coming to the club for Bayern Munich. Would all this have been possible without the work that's been put into how good we are now in Europe?
I think it all probably stems back to when Steven Gerrard's came in. I think he changed the whole mentality of the club, and we played better. We brought in a better quality of player. And we're just seeing some of them coming through, and like Aribo, Bassey came of age very quickly. We came overnight. He's still not the finished article, Calvin. He still made a lot of errors because a lot of time he had to cover for himself. But you learn that, and that's what kind of potential they're buying as well. But he was that good at what he was good at, and Aribo was the same. So I think teams are now taking notice that the players we are bringing through, the players we're having in our team playing the season are doing really well. But European run did help. It put us on the map because, especially you watch BT Sport, you listen to English media, they praise Rangers to the hilt. You don't get that in Scotland, but in England and other places, they praise Rangers, they praise their players, and you've seen how good we were, especially beating Dortmund and stuff like that. And I think that a lot of players, a lot of teams took up and went, this guy's not bad. He plays in Scottish football. He's actually a very good player. I think the more teams he beat in that European run, the more people said he could do a job for us. And that's probably the reason why Aribo's went, Bassey's went, and another one or two could go as well. So I think it stems back to Stevie G's come in, put us on the right track. Obviously, he didn't stay to finish off, but he put us on the right track. Like I said, Ross Wilson will never take risks, but he does a good job in what he does, and he's brought in a lot of money. And the players he's brought in, I'll congratulate on the players so far. We've not got results on the park yet, but I'm happy with the players he's brought in. So long may it continue, and hopefully it shows us on the park and may challenge for stuff next season.
Yeah, well, we have another. Sorry, Elaine, we've got another caller. The show RFC 56. How you doing?
All right, Barton. How you doing, Chips? All right.
Not bad, buddy.
It's just about the Bassey deal.
Right.
I'm not happy about it at all.
How no?
I know it's obviously if you buy a guy for peanuts and you make that sort of profit, obviously. But if you've got a guy that's worth more and you sell him for less than what he's worth, it's just not a good deal.
How much do you think? Because I don't know the actual number RFC, but what are you thinking we've sold him for then? What fee would make you unhappy?
Well, I've been told about I'm not even sure. I think it's like 23, and then I've gone up to 27, but I don't know how true that is.
The difficulty here, and Elaine, I'll take this to you. The difficulty is if you sign, it doesn't matter how much you sign somebody for, right? But if you sign Bassey for 250, 300, whatever it was we signed him for, if a club then come in and offer you 22 million plus 5 million add-ons or whatever, and you're a team in Scotland, you can't really knock that back, can you?
No, to be honest, I think it's brilliant business. I know that I can understand us rating him very highly. The reality of it is we've got him in for a development fee of nothing. Leicester don't have a sell-on fee. That's pretty much it's almost all profit. In terms of the point I was going to make to Kerr was with Ross Wilson, we are all very quick to be critical of him. But again, if it's true that he's negotiated a 10% sell-on, when Ajax don't tend to do sell-ons, it's not something that they routinely do. So if he's negotiated that we think is going to potentially bring us even more money down the line. The other thing we need to remember is, do you know what? I absolutely love Bassey. I thought he was a man mountain last year. I thought he was brilliant. I was looking back at my tweets earlier, where I said at the end of the season, the only person I do not want to sell is Calvin Bassey. Anyone else, not that emotionally invested in, didn't want to sell Bassey. But that's brilliant business. And he has really only had 6 months, one good season. You know, he could. I heard someone talking about. I think it was the phone in the other night. Could we maybe keep him until we've had the Champions League qualifiers, whatever? He could get, you know, he could do his cruciate. He could pull up. We could find out that actually he's a young boy, end up being injury prone through, you know, the rest of his 20s. And I think for someone who's had 6 months, albeit we see the potential, that's fantastic business. And I don't think, given where we're from, you know, his stock's never going to be much higher. People saying we should keep him for another season. The exposure that he's had, even if he had an absolute blinder of a season, I don't think you're getting too much more for him. And to be honest, I think that's fair. I think that's an exceptional piece of business by us.
Well, just out of curiosity then, RFC, how much would you be happy selling him for?
Right, well, I know people are going to say it's nothing to do with our rivals, and it's about what the player's worth. Of course it is, and I think he was worth more than what they got for Tierney 3 years ago.
The difficulty you've got with that is that, regardless of how well he played, Tierney, and I don't like to talk about them, but he was a good, very, very good player. But he had
Tierney was a brilliant player, Martin, but you know the competition back then.
I bet he had Champions League football in him, RFC, Bassey. Albeit
six games in the space of 10 months a year.
I understand that, and I understand that we made it to a European final, and I think that's probably why we're getting as much as we are for Bassey, the fact that we made it to a European final. But Kieran Tierney looked very good, and he had Champions League football. Now, I would be expecting to get round about the Tierney money. If that's like, for example, 20 million with the add-ons to make it to 25 million, I would be expecting that. But I don't think he's been consistent enough for long enough, Bassey, for us to be able to ask for any more than what we're asking for.
He's only really had one full season as well.
That's the thing. He's only had one full albeit in that one full season, RFC was outstanding.
People keep saying that to bring the price down to try and make themselves feel better. He actually played for Rangers for 2 years. I know he only played mostly in the latter part this year. You try and put him down all you want. At the end of the day, he was at Rangers for 2 years. He was training with Rangers day in, day out as a 21-year-old, growing, learning. Nobody will change my mind on this. I just think...
100%. I'm not trying to change your mind. Every single person is entitled to their opinion. I'm just giving you the logic behind why I think the deal's structured that way.
So we think it's round about the same as what they got, but just no quite as much. So there's somebody in the East End 3 years ago managed to get that amount for their guy, but we couldn't do it last night.
Well,
I just don't get it. It's not good enough for me.
I'm no sure, Kerr. I'll bring you in on this, Kerr. But you all have to unmute yourself, otherwise nobody will be able to hear what you're saying. I'm not sure how much the deal is structured, but and like I say, every single person is entitled to their own opinion. But RFC saying that if the fee is the reported fee, he's not happy.
That's his opinion. I mean, we all want more for a player, no matter who it is. We all want to have more money for them. And coming off a season, Dad, we think he's worth more than that. But you can only Rangers accepted it. The deal went quite quickly, and Rangers are happy with the fee. Calvin's happy moving, and we're making a lot of money on the boy. Yeah, we loved him to stay because he, yourself, Martin, he totally transformed me. I wasn't his biggest fan when he first came, so he's totally transformed me, and he ended up being one of the best players in the team. But when Ajax offer that money, we can't turn it back because, like Ellie mentioned, one bad injury or one poor season, may not get that again. I know it's hard to take because we don't want to tell our best players, but the board seen that money and thought we can do A, B, and C with that money for the team because we've sold Bassey. And I think the money we got for Bassey is quite good. I honestly thought we should have got more for Aribo. that was my gripe. But we all want best. We all want more money for our players. And going with what the boy said, there is logic in that because Tierney he played a bit more games and they had the Champions League money. Bassey got to a final, he played with Nigeria and stuff like that. So there wasn't much between the two of them, to be honest. So we probably should have got more, but Rangers were happy with the fee, and that's up to the club at the end of the day. But we all want more money for our players.
I think with Bassey as well, is that is 2 years left on his deal. So we were entering that territory again of if he doesn't sign a new deal, he's going to be another player that had a year left by the end of the season. Then is it another Rebo situation where we have to undersell him? I think there's a lot of factors going into it.
RFC, can I just ask then, just really quickly, what's your opinion on Davies coming in?
Davies?
Yes, centre back.
Davies centre back? You having a laugh?
Ben
No.
Davies.
No, Ben Davies, the new signing.
Right.
I wasn't talking about Steve Davies going to centre back. Don't get off my back, RFC.
I don't know. I've not really seen this guy. I heard they wanted him. I've not really seen him, so I can't really comment.
No, I'll tell you what, Anna, I thought I was going to get hooked through the computer screen there, the RFC. Did you hear that there?
I've totally blanked it.
Well, I can say to you, I don't know if you're still watching the stream now on mute, RFC, but there's quite a lot of people agreeing with you about the fee for Bassey.
Guy, it's a hard one, but I'm not going to say any more about it. I'll just let these go.
Thank you very much, buddy, and make sure you phone again.
Right, thanks very much. Cheers.
Cheers,
Thank
bud.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See, that's what's great, man. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and everybody in the comments disagrees with everything that we're saying. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Listen, I was going to have a wee chat about the Blackpool game, but currently in my sunroom it's about 170 degrees. I'm absolutely roasting. The dog's screaming at me. He wants out a walk, so I'm going to go and take the dog a walk. So just before we go, Elaine, thank you. You can go to your barbecue.
Thank you. I'm not hungry at all.
Care as usual, buddy. Thank you very much.
Just like to say to Walter Zenga, Walter, if I don't win the league, I won't be happy, but I usually criticise Ross Wilson. I'm happy with his business at the moment, but I did say to you, it all depends on results in the park. So if you want to have a dig, wait till the end of the season, but I won't be happy if we win the league.
Well, I'll see the next phone in that cares on, because I know you've phoned in before. Phone in and get them tell, right? And can I just say, CGM, it came with the house. I am not posh, and no, I don't have any money. So
CGM, it's actually his laundry room. He just calls it a sunroom.
Do you know what? I think it is a laundry room that just call a sunroom. Because my missus would never let me have my own room for doing anything. So I think it is a laundry room. Lex Luthor, it's been fantastic having you on.
All right, cheers. Enjoyed it though. Cheers, guys.
Thank you to every single person who phoned in. Thank you to everybody in the comments, as ever. Cameron wanting to hear Zenga phone in. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Zenga will phone in on the next show now. I've called him out. Please do like and subscribe. It really does. Likes really, really help the pod grow, and of course, so do subscriptions as well on YouTube. So please do like and subscribe. If you're watching on Twitter, please do give us a wee retweet and a like. And for future reference, you can comment on Twitter, and it comes up on my screen. But nobody seems to comment on Twitter.
And happy birthday, Martin.
Happy birthday, Martin.
43
tomorrow.
For tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And if you keep an eye on our community tab on YouTube, then you'll know exactly when the next show is going to drop. Unless it's at the last minute, like tonight, in which case you won't have a clue. But yeah, make sure you're subscribed, all the good stuff, and we'll speak to you again very, very soon.